Hello and welcome to episode 26 of PauseCast. It's Thursday, January 26th, 2017. I am Jessica Alouette, and I use she, her pronouns.
And I'm Mark Hanna, I use he, him. Welcome.
New year. Still sinking in. I almost stumbled over 2017 again.
It sounded like a mouthful.
There's two 20s in it. Tripped me up.
I have written 2016 down several times accidentally in the past week.
Oh no, not anything important, I hope. No, just stuff.
Just like dating the pages that I write.
Yeah. Fair enough. Has there been any good video games in 2017 yet? Like, I hear Resident Evil 7 is supposed to be very good.
I don't know, I kind of avoid Resident Evil just because I scare easily.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
So I don't follow the news on it.
But,
and I've been, out of internet for half of the year so far, so I don't know.
But you've been playing something that, I mean, it could be considered a little scary. A little, like the littlest. It's very tense at night, I will say that.
There are a couple of jump scares in the story, but that's kind of it. Okay. It's nowhere near the same, atmospheric scary as a game like Resident Evil, as far as I know, from what little I've seen of them, because I avoid them.
Mm-hmm.
I think the action component gives a lot to that. Like, if you play a game like Amnesia, where you don't have any weapons or anything and you feel completely helpless, that adds a lot to it. Whereas a game like Dying Light, which is the one I've been playing, which I talked about last episode, zombies are there to be hit with things, so it's a bit less scary.
Yeah.
Except, at night, where if you try to hit them, you will just die, so you have to run away. But still, you can run away and you have ways to deal with it because there's traps set up everywhere you can activate and stuff. You're not completely helpless. But, so over the past week, that's kind of the only game I've played, though I haven't played very much, but I've been playing it co-op with my flatmate, which I haven't done in a while. I played through half the campaign co-op with some uni friends last time I played through it, but what I was doing over the summer break, of course, was just single player. I didn't have any internet or anyone else to play with. So that's been pretty fun, doing stuff like trying to catch each other or guarding each other's backs while we're picking the locks on police vans and stuff. Kind of fun.
That's a good time. I think I mentioned last time we were discussing this, that Dying Light was a blast, but I just don't know if I could see myself getting back into it. I don't know. I probably will at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect to get back into it over the summer break. I just sort of was browsing my Steam list because I want to play a game, but I don't know which one. And then I got into it again once I started it. Having someone else to play with has helped reinvigorate it. And since he bought the full game and all its expansions while it was on sale, I've bought the main expansion, the following, I think it's called.
Yep.
Haven't played any of that yet, but now we've both got it and we're playing co-op, so we'll get to play it at the same time, which should be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't seen any of that stuff yet. I have had the annoyance of some of the DLC he's got is really tiny, you can strap a knife to a wrench is one of the DLCs he has. So I gave him a knife and a wrench, and he strapped them together and gave it back to me, and then the game told me, while I was looking at it in my inventory, you cannot equip this weapon because you don't own the DLC. So I was like, oh, okay, sure, whatever.
Sure, knife on a wrench
lame.
Seems like a pretty good DLC piece of content.
Yeah, I guess.
Seems good and
Whereas
fine.
my character had somehow managed to push some nails through a wrench instead for their weapon. Don't know how on earth they could possibly have managed to push nails through solid metal like that, but hey, they did.
Well, you know what they say about them. They're not, wrenches aren't exactly tough as nails. You can break them pretty easily, I reckon. Yep, sorry, terrible.
Yep. Okay.
We're gonna move past that and just kind of we're gonna skirt around that. I think.
No, it wasn't bad. That's just my reaction to puns.
It was bad. That's I make bad puns. It's what I do.
That one was an actual pun. It wasn't just pointing out a synonym. It had two meanings. It was a decent pun. I just have that groaning reaction to puns in general, I think.
I think every human, who's reasonable does. I think every reasonable human has this reaction to it.
I think I've come up with one good pun in my life, which was soon after I moved out of home, and my flatmate was going back to uni, and he was studying something that was tangentially related to what I studied. So he'd asked me for a bunch of help. So I thought, oh, cool, so I'd be able to help him to some degree.
Wait.
No?
Oh, no,
Maybe?
it just clicked. Oh!
The only good one I've ever come up with in my life.
It's very good.
Oh, thank you.
It's terrible, and that
groaned.
makes it very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of terrible things that are good.
Yeah?
Wow, that's a great transition. Metal Gear Solid 5. Guess what? Still terrible, still good.
So you've been...
I've been replaying it a little bit.
Cool. How far have you gotten?
Episode 3, so the one that they demoed during all the E3 stuff.
Oh, I wasn't following it at that point. Does that just mean mission 3?
Yeah, the third mission.
Is that including the prologue?
No, that's the fourth mission.
Okay.
If you're including.
Actually, you really hated the prologue, didn't you?
I still despise that prologue, and I survived
Yeah?
it this time by skipping half of the cinematics.
Oh, right, you can skip the cinematics.
Thank God, because I would die.
I never skip cinematics, so I don't normally notice if you can or not.
Well, I don't normally either, but the intro is an hour of terrible content that you have to slog through to get through to anything interesting in Metal Gear Solid 5.
I mean, I've said this before, but I liked the intro to Metal Gear Solid 5. I thought it was really well put together.
To me, it's like the fun tax. I have to pay this much in like bad content before I can have fun.
I don't think it was bad though. I thought it set the scene really well.
I my biggest issue with it is that it reveled in a level of, I swear I've talked about this before. If I haven't,
Yeah, I think we have.
If I haven't, I don't like the intro to Metal Gear Solid 5 because I feel like it revels in gratuitous graphic violence against civilians, and I think
It's supposed to show you how incredibly evil the baddies are.
and I think that there are better ways to do that than just having them shoot a bunch of people and just be like, well, look, they're evil. I promise, they're evil. This is who you're fighting. And I mean, like, I compare that scene to No Russian all the time. Like, the comparison's not wrong.
Yeah, I can get that.
Yeah.
I can see how they're comparable.
Yeah, I do not like the introduction to Metal Gear Solid 5. But I made it through to the good content, is the thing that I did. I got the dog really early again, which was weird. Like
I still barely noticed when I got it because I just thought, oh, okay, there's a dog. I should probably get that. But like, is it normally more than just a random puppy that appears around your ankles? Did I miss something when I got the dog?
No, you wouldn't have missed anything when you got the dog.
Okay. So it's basically a puppy that shows up in the game, expects you to want it.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
I also
I've wondered if I'd missed something there.
Yeah, no, there was in one of the initial demos that they showed off. It was in a completely different area of that map, and it was also there was the puppy's mom was there, and was like it was implied that she was shot by one of the
baddies.
By one of the baddies, yeah. And it added a layer to that scene. It made you. It kind of felt like you were helping, like the dog get its revenge as well, a little bit to me. Which
I was just thinking of that.
Which is like, it's an interesting tone to add to that game, and I'm a little bit sad it was absent from the final product.
I wonder why they would have made that choice.
I don't know, especially because they showed it off. So like,
that is a bit strange.
I don't know.
I hadn't known about that.
Yeah, it's because I followed Metal Gear Solid 5 as it was kind of getting closer to its release, because like my friends were getting really excited about it, so I was like, maybe I should look into this Metal Gear Solid thing. I hear it's good. and I was enjoying 3 on the 3DS at the time. So
Wait, what? On the 3DS?
yeah, there was a port of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater,
Oh.
which was on the 3DS.
I knew they had 3DS game. What? I can't remember what it's called. Peace Walker? Was Peace Walker 3DS?
That was PSP.
PSP. Oh, okay.
So they'd had handheld Metal Gears.
Yeah,
before.
that's what I was thinking of. I hadn't realized they'd ported Snake Eater, though, I don't think. Oh, is that what Subsistence was?
Nope.
No.
It's actually just called like Metal Gear Solid 3D Snake Eater.
Oh, okay.
So like it's
I didn't know that.
yeah, it's just a 3DS port that exists.
Have you looked at all into the intersection between the games we've talked about so far?
The intersection between Dying Light and Metal Gear?
Hmm.
Are you talking about the skulls?
No.
I mean, that's very close.
Have you not heard of Metal Gear Survive?
No,
The
okay,
zombie
no,
Metal
okay.
Gear Solid game?
Okay, so we're gonna move on to another topic very quickly.
I don't know anything more than that.
I've been playing Doom as well again. Turns out kicking demons' asses still very good. It's still really great. I don't need to talk more about Doom. Play Doom. Dirt 3 as well has been a thing that I have been playing a bunch of.
That's a racing game, right?
It is a racing game. And I'm constantly surprised by Dirt 3.
How's that?
Every facet of its design kind of stands out to me. There's a shocking amount of detail crammed into Dirt 3. And it's a lot of like little things that aren't necessary to make a racing game like good.
What sort of stuff?
For starters, kind of a lot of the destructibles in the environment, like stuff like fences and stuff like that.
Okay.
If you crash into water, it generates waves. Like I'm talking about all these little things. The way that smoke lingers in the air as you burn out on concrete.
Smoke is a really hard thing to do in a game, isn't it?
Yeah, and like they make the smoke actually like linger, and it sticks around. It feels very like it's this tiny detail, and you can only see it in replays, really, but it's still there.
I mean, games used to tend to do smoke as kind of like a decal that would scale up and rotate and fade and move along all at once, and you didn't with like a trail of them because they were all moving the same direction, like a stream of them.
Yeah.
But it was very repetitive and easy to tell what was going on if you took a moment to look.
Oh yeah.
But a bit more complicated than that in recent years, at least.
Oh yeah. Like we actually like in Uncharted 4, there's like cigarette smoke, which behaves like cigarette smoke. I think LA Noire did some similar stuff.
I just want to say ooh to
that. I'm just saying.
I know.
The way it travels and stuff. Like
yeah,
that's all.
Yeah.
It's there in like Uncharted 4 and LA Noire, and it's these little details, and I just really appreciate that a lot.
Actually, smoke and water are both kind of difficult things to do well in a game. They're things that it's really easy to see when it doesn't look quite right, you know? Much more difficult than a decal on a flat surface or something. Kind of like getting human faces right. It can be very difficult. At least we've got motion capture for that, but it's harder to motion capture smoke or water.
It's also harder to like motion capture. Like motion capture can only do so much. It's hard to motion capture like proper lighting that makes human faces like look normal, which is not a thing that it's not a thing that video games are historically good at. Which I would like to quickly shout out to Metal Gear Solid 5 again here for shockingly getting lighting like spot on. Like yeah, the lighting in that game's so good.
One of it helps that a lot of it takes place outside, like practically all of it.
Well, even still, like a lot of games still suck at actually making light work properly.
What's an example of one that does it really poorly, do you think?
I
remember in Oblivion, which is, going back 10 or 11 years, light sources would bleed through walls like nothing stopped them, the only things that cast shadows were characters, and modders would. Some people had tried, in order to get things to cast shadows, making them fake creatures that they cast a shadow. So there'd be like an immobile creature with no AI that had been like essentially paused and made uninteractive, but still the game knew, okay, its type is actor, so it casts a shadow.
I'm just trying to think of games where lighting is done like very poorly, where they're aiming for realism. Hang on. I'm gonna actually think on this for a second.
Okay.
I mean, one of the things I have to consider here as well is that a lot of games do kind of weird lighting for stylistic effect.
Yeah.
Like the classic example of stylish lighting would be like The Matrix. If you watch that film again, you might notice, now that I'm pointing it out, that every time they're in the Matrix, all of the scene has like a green tinge to it. And when they are outside of the Matrix, the colors are restored to normal, kind of more bluish.
Yeah, I don't think I've noticed that, but I also haven't seen the Matrix movies in quite a long time.
Yeah, they're very good. Like, The Matrix is a good movie, and there are no sequels.
Speaking of green tinge, that's the thing that Fallout 3 did quite a lot. Everything was very green.
Yeah, that game was extremely green, and like Fallout New Vegas is extremely orange. They both arguably go for kind of a realistic aesthetic. I don't know.
And then adding that on top of it.
Yeah. Like I don't really know. Man,
That's all right.
I wish I could think of specific examples, because like Metal Gear Solid 5 does absolutely stand out to me as like, look, we did it. We made like super realistic lighting.
I mean, it can be hard when it's that, there's the sort of the standard and some go above it, but not many fall below it a huge amount.
Yeah, maybe like...
Because a lot of games as well, they don't have a super realistic style. Like if you look at a game like XCOM or Limbo or something, you're not expecting everything to look super realistic, or like Dishonored, where lighting's very important, but it also has very much its own non-realistic art style. So some stuff will be different.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that actually that's a good point. I was about to point at like Grand Theft Auto, but it goes for this weird... It also goes for like a weird hybrid style.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, it seems like it tries to look realistic when you're in a car, but I don't know if it's going for it quite as much when you're...
Whenever
not,
there's
there
is a human on the screen, it does not look like it is attempting to be like very realistic about the fact that it's a human.
It's not like Heavy Rain trying to look like a movie realism.
Yeah, it's... God, Heavy Rain and Beyond actually had really good lighting too.
I mean, they try so hard to be cinematic, like a live-action movie kind of thing, so I'm not surprised that they get lighting very good as well.
Yeah. It's also really interesting that like BioShock Infinite had really great lighting as well, but for completely different stylistic reasons. Like Infinite, for all its problems, is kind of it's a little bit of a technical achievement for lighting at the very least. They go for this very like deliberately exaggerated, hyper-saturated lighting. They don't ever make it feel like it's too much either.
Okay.
I think it feels bright, it feels colorful, and it definitely feels like it has a quality of exaggeration to it. But it never like crosses the line.
Well,
it never feels like it's too much.
Okay.
I know that they had to do some like weird stuff to it to make that lighting engine all work as well.
Oh yeah, what sort of stuff?
Uh, it was some.
Or do I need to ask their devs?
The devs actually talked about it. They had to implement some like Unreal Engine 3 hacks. Basically, like they had to hack the engine a bit to get it to work with several like channels of lighting that they were putting in.
Okay.
There was a really interesting like technical analysis of this that I've watched, and the details are now fuzzy because I tried to wipe BioShock Infinite from my brain.
Oh.
It wasn't that good.
I haven't played it. I played the first. Well, I played half of Bioshock and less than half of Bioshock 2.
Okay. You can save time by not playing Infinite. I would recommend this route. In fact, don't play BioShock Infinite.
I mean, I haven't got no plans to pick it up.
Okay, yeah, don't make any plans to pick it up. It's actually a bad game. It turns out that Irrational can't be trusted to make a commentary about like race. That's not a thing that they can do very good. Woofa doofa. All right.
But another thing I've been thinking about a little bit recently. A few years ago, I was just messing around with a little programming project, and I made an implementation of the game Connect 4, where you've got a grid of 7 columns that I think are 8 high, and you and your opponent have got different coloured coins that you put in. They fall down to the bottom of each column, and you try to connect 4 of them in a row, vertically, horizontally, or diagonally. And I wrote this a few years ago, and I wrote like a little computer-controlled player to play against. And I rediscovered it like a week ago, and it got me. It just reminded me of what I'd had to do to figure out how to get a computer to play this game, which was really, really simple. The rules are really simple, and there's only ever up to 7 different things it can do. So it's like really, really, really simple. And it got me thinking how I might have mentioned this in the last episode, I can't remember, how much more difficult it must be to make a computer-controlled player for a more complicated game that has different difficulty settings and like how good the AI is. Which sort of further got me thinking of all the different ways that games handle difficulty. Like I mentioned Oblivion just before, and I know that if you set the difficulty up or down on that, it was, I think the later Bethesda games might do the same. It was basically saying, okay, there's a damage multiplier that gets applied to enemies, and you deal less damage. So I think on very hard, you took 6 times as much damage and dealt 1/6 of the damage you were dealing on normal, and vice versa on easy. And I know there are some games like XCOM and I think Civ as well, where on the hardest difficulties, the computer-controlled players get to cheat because if they want to make a real challenge for the best players, well, it's hard to rate AI that will give a consistent challenge, so you give them extra resources or better aim or more crit chance or something.
I didn't realize that when you upped the difficulty in XCOM, they actually just started to cheat.
Yeah, apparently. I mean, I've read this. It's you can't really tell in game unless you're like measuring it or something, I guess. But I think it was from modders who'd looked into how it works or something.
Right.
I have noticed that there are also improvements in the AI, like on the normal difficulty, at least in the original XCOM. They wouldn't do certain things they would in high difficulties. For example, suppressing one of your soldiers so that they could then get another one of theirs to run past and flank them. They do that on harder difficulties, but they don't do it on the on the lower difficulty.
Right.
But as well as that, apparently they get crit chances. I think actually that's right. There were mods to stop high difficulties cheating because people wanted the better AI without also like increased crit chance or whatever for the aliens.
Yeah, I'm looking at. It seems like there was a lot of work that was done in balancing XCOM's difficulty. There's a lot of stuff that changes.
What stuff?
Let's start with your global panic starts at 16 with 2 per location.
I hated that mechanic so much.
XCOM HQ has less starting power than if you start on normal. Unchecked alien activity will cause way more panic. The alien.
These are all things that are really, like, getting the balance right might be difficult, but they're really easy to implement, right? It's just like, okay, you change starting power 4.
Here's where it gets interesting, though.
Yeah.
On Impossible, the alien AI is completely unshackled. So
it must be that it has access to all the different.
Yeah, they start using.
Like, you can't do X, Y.
Yeah, they start using grenades and special powers and stuff like that. They do get these cheats that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Plus 10 aim, plus 10 crit, like.
Wow, that's significant.
Yeah, there's like a lot of significant changes that happen on Impossible. It's actually really. This is really interesting. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I've noticed in XCOM 2 when you, for lack of a better word, possess the robot enemies. Or what's hack? When you hack them and take control of them, they have terrible aim. Like the turrets, at best, have a 50% chance to hit. And like even if they're aiming at a stationary target that's standing out in the open, really close to them, they'll have a 50% chance to hit. They're really terrible. So that must be what the aliens are playing with all the time.
Jesus.
Kind of interesting. I think turrets get the worst of that. The other combatants are probably not quite that bad, but still, it was interesting to see that from the start. You know, the odds are in your favor, and, like they should be because the player should win, right? That's what you expect. You don't expect the player to lose more often than not.
I mean, that is the end goal.
Yeah.
The only time where like I play a game like going in knowing I will lose frequently at this point is probably Words with Friends.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Because you're playing against other people then, and it's much harder to control the difficulty. But then there's stuff like what you've told me about what Overwatch does, where you start a season and you play some ranking games, and then it decides, okay, these people are around the same skill level, so let's put them together. And that's how they control the difficulty, by putting people of similar skill level together instead of having to change or write better AI or let the computer cheat or anything like that.
Yeah, it's
when I was a lot younger, I'd convinced myself that it must be impossible to beat a computer because it would know everything that you knew. I hadn't really realized that the AI could not be allowed to take into account the locations of all of your troops or something like that in an RTS or something.
Yeah. It's interesting to think about what restrictions you could put onto an AI in any given thing to balance it, and then also to increase the challenge. Should the player decide?
How you could let it cheat.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of ways that you could just make it cheat. Like, if you want to, let's use a first-person shooter as an example here. If you want to make anything cheat as a first-person shooter, just increase the accuracy of the aimbot. And maybe give them a little less spread.
Well, you could also do stuff like just tweaking how quickly they can turn, right?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like upping their mouse sensitivity. If something can turn fast and its aim is just as good, it's going to be a lot more dangerous.
Definitely.
So there could be some easy gains. But, I mean, writing an AI for that in the first place, I'm sure would be really difficult. I don't really know much about it at all. The one I mentioned before with Connect 4 was very simplistic.
I mean,
but then there's other interesting things, like, so some games like XCOM, when you change one slider and it does a whole raft of things. Like you said, like it's decreasing starting power, increasing the starting terror, increasing the enemy AI strength, I guess.
Giving them
letting them
cheats.
cheat.
Giving them cheats.
But then there are other games that let you decide which of those you want and which you don't.
Oh, yeah.
Which is really nice. I know that feels a little strange to call it difficulty, but it is. Kerbal Space Program does this. It has, and I think like most games that do this have, it has like default settings or like groups of default settings for this. For like its career mode, it's got a certain thing and stuff. But like you could play the normal but turn off the requirement for communication satellites, I think, which was added in the patch after the full release. But I really like when games do that because you don't need to worry about it. But if you're like me playing a game like XCOM and you decide, okay, I'm kind of iffy about the resource management aspect, but I really like the combat, so I want to make that harder and keep the resource management easy, then you'd be able to do that. I really like it when games do that and they let you tailor the challenge to you a bit better. You can make the things you enjoy more challenging without having to also slog through the bits you might not like as much. I'm trying to think what other games do this. I haven't played it, but I think from talking to my brother, I think Dishonored 2 might do this.
Dishonored 2 is getting an update which does this like difficulty tuning where you can like adjust how fast you're being detected and a whole like swath of things.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. I think it's really good when games do that. I hope more and more and more games are going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bunch of it is going to be like difficult to implement properly. And a lot of it is also like, I mean, pretty easily tunable values to the eye of like me as a front-end web developer who has never developed a video game in her life. Stuff like how long it takes to detect people and stuff like that. That seems like it would be easy enough to tune and adjust.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no game developer, but I have modded some games before, and often there is like a single global setting that can just be tweaked for that, which makes it really easy.
That's kind of neat, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice way to do things, right? If you have a value like how long it takes to get detected, and then it's just defined in one place, and everything references that, and then if you need to change it, it's like a whole lot of other things in coding. You want to duplicate stuff as little as possible.
Yep. I imagine that they actually have like some pretty complex formulas running for stuff like that. Because you have to take in account like cover and distance and a whole bunch of stuff all at once and all on the fly.
Yeah, and it'll just make use of that value of the speed of it as part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I think there are some things in Skyrim, magic effects, I think that can alter how much light affects your detection. I might be misremembering that. I remember in Oblivion actually, you could there was the chameleon effect, which would make you semi-transparent, but you could enchant enough stuff to get 100%, so you're basically permanently invisible, whereas you couldn't do a permanent invisibility enchantment. I think when I was playing through Oblivion, I got up to something like 80% chameleon, where I'd be like standing in front of someone hitting them, and they'd just be like, "Who? What just happened? I don't know. Is there someone there?" Like, I think in broad daylight, I could occasionally be seen until I took a few steps away. If I was playing in third person, I could like, if I jumped, the screen would move, and maybe I'd see a bit of a ripple in the air. It's quite interesting.
That's pretty neat, actually. God,
I think if you had 1% chameleon, you'd be completely transparent, but you'd refract light a lot, so you'd look like you were made of really thick glass or something.
What?
I think if it's in Skyrim, it just like fades your opacity rather than making you refractive like that. But it was a really cool effect in Oblivion. I really liked it.
Turns you into a ghost boy.
Yeah.
Oh, no. It's weird that they would do like a technical downgrade from Oblivion to Skyrim. That seems weird.
I mean, doing it with opacity does let it scale more evenly, because like I said in Oblivion, as soon as you went to 1% chameleon, suddenly all color was gone. It would all pass right through you and it would just refract different amounts. Whereas if you're sliding opacity, then you're just sort of half transparent, but you can still see, they're wearing a black robe, not a red robe and stuff like that. So I can see that advantage of it. It's not as huge. The leap from 0 to 1 is as big as the leap from 50 to 51, whereas in Oblivion, from 0 to 1 is huge, because that's when all color goes and you're see-through now. Although I think in terms of detection, it probably works the same way as Skyrim.
Video games are whack. No, you know what? I swear I've done this. I've goofed on this like 20 times. I've like Just video games are weird, guys. All right. I need to come up with something like interesting to talk about instead of just, doing that.
Is there anything else you've played this week?
I have played a little bit of Overwatch this week.
Oh yeah.
God, I'm really excited about Overwatch actually. I do have that because they are doing a Lunar New Year event.
Oh neat.
Yeah. I was absolutely not expecting it, and it's really great to come off the heels of like the Christmas event ending on like the 4th of January. Like it was earlier this month, and now they're already throwing us another event. Like, thank you, Blizzard.
So is this a bunch more cosmetic stuff that they're
Yep,
adding?
a bunch more themed cosmetic items, which can then be used throughout the year. A lot of skins for a lot of characters, including the various Asian characters who are on the cast of Overwatch, like Diva and Mei. They've both gotten, like, Diva has a skin which is celebrating the Korean Lunar New Year, and Mei has one which is celebrating the Chinese Lunar New Year. Cool. A lot of characters are kind of sticking more towards the Chinese Lunar New Year, and the event is called the Chinese New Year as well. So that makes sense. But it's really fascinating to see that, like, Korean Lunar New Year is getting, like, some attention as well within the game.
Yeah, so is that character Korean?
Yeah, that character is Korean.
Right. Makes perfect sense to do that then, doesn't it?
Yeah, and they have, like...
Cool.
There's a lot of, like, cool skins in there. Like, Journey to the West. Have you heard of it at all?
Is it a movie?
It is an older story, if I recall correctly, which stars the star of it is a monkey whose name is Sun Wukong.
Okay.
And
so it's a legend.
Yeah, a legend, I believe.
Okay.
Okay. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But Sun Wukong is a monkey. And guess who got that skin in Overwatch? It was a monkey.
Was it the
It was a monkey.
The gorilla
the
guy?
gorilla guy. Yeah,
okay. I know there is a gorilla, but I don't know much about.
They gave a Sun Wukong skin to, like, the monkey, which is, it's appropriate. They've done, like, a lot of really cool and interesting things with this event, and I'm really glad it is happening.
Cool. So when does that start?
It is on now, and it is on for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. Cool. So have you got any of the new cosmetic stuff yet?
Nope, not yet. I have to...
Any particular ones you're hoping to get?
I have to scope all of them out still. Okay. I will probably try to get Mei's new skin, Diva's new skin, and I think Tracer's got some good stuff as well. The lesbian on the cover. She's apparently got some cool new skins as well. So I'm excited to get all this stuff. And I'm really glad to see, like, Overwatch taking cultural representation pretty seriously.
Yeah, it's nice when if they're doing event stuff, they don't focus on events from just one culture.
Yeah, which to be fair, they have been doing to this point.
Yeah, but it looks like they're picking up other ones now, which is a good step.
Yeah, definitely. And especially if it means that there's more events going on. Yes, please. I will take that.
That's true.
I always enjoy me a special event.
But wasn't... Because I know they had the comics, and that's where it came out that Trace was gay. But didn't they have the characters, not all of them were celebrating Christmas in that? Is that right? Am I remembering that correctly?
I am not sure, honestly.
Okay. I didn't have an in-depth look at them, so I might not be remembering that correctly. But I feel like there was something in there, even if that might not have been serviced in the game at all.
I think that's, like, it's definitely not beyond reason that would happen. I just can't speak to whether it is true or not.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, Overwatch is good. It's been treating me very right. And
is there a season going on at the moment?
Yep, we're still in the 3rd competitive season, I think.
Okay.
So, There will be more seasons, no doubt. I think this third
Yeah.
season ends in February, and then
Okay, so they're quite long.
oh yeah, they're quarterly seasons, I think.
Right.
So they to this point, and to my knowledge, have been doing one every 3 months.
Okay.
So I think this season will probably end, actually probably closer to the end of the Lunar New Year event.
Mhm.
And then we'll probably start season 4, which will probably end just in time for Overwatch's first anniversary.
I'm sure they'll have content for that.
Oh, there will be plenty of hashtag content for that, no doubt. There's got to be some content. We have to get that content, Mark. Is this content? Are we doing content?
Surely.
Surely. What else can I talk about?
I haven't played anything else. I've only done, I think, like 2 sessions of Dying Light. It's been a pretty video game light week. I mean, aided by the fact that I freaking burnt the tip of my index finger, which isn't the best for gaming.
No, that's
it's pretty much healed now.
Okay, that's good at least.
Yeah.
Have you had the chance to play more Final Fantasy 15?
I have had the chance to, but I have not taken that chance.
Okay. There's a limited time event going on in that as well, actually.
Oh, there's like a festival or something.
Yeah,
right?
there's the Moogle Chocobo Carnival.
How far in the game do you have to be to get
Chapter 8.
Yeah, I'm Chapter 3.
It doesn't take long to get to Chapter 8. You can get there, I think I have 20 hours and I'm into Chapter 8, but I definitely could have gotten there faster.
Okay, I've probably got about more time than that. I don't know. Oh, maybe not. It's been a while. I haven't played it this year.
Fair enough.
So I'm not sure how much time I've got in it.
Definitely would. I would recommend that you get on that if you are interested.
Have you touched any of that limited time thing?
No, not yet.
Okay.
But I watched the trailer for it. It looks really cute, which makes me very happy because chocobos are good.
They are. I like the chocobos. I just wish they swapped around the controls so they matched the on-foot controls.
Yep. That's annoying.
It's just a bit of a strange decision to make.
Yep. It's the most minor annoyance, to be honest.
Yeah, it's definitely minor next to the fact that interact and jump at the same button.
Wow. Yeah, it got annoying very quickly.
Yeah. It's not something you can ignore, unfortunately.
Nope. Thanks, Final Fantasy. Thank you. You're mostly good, but you really fucked that one. Terrible, terrible, terrible. At least if I play
Just
Final
a little
Fantasy,
thing, but like a big little thing.
if I play Final Fantasy X, I won't have to deal with that at least.
No, you won't because you can't jump. That's the only reason.
I remember when jumping was... I don't think jumping was a part of the first Dragon Age game, and then when they added it to Inquisition, it was like a big deal.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it wasn't part. When there are some games when you can't jump and you feel like you really, really should be able to jump.
Yeah, like Dragon Age was definitely one of them.
Prince of Persia is a game where you can jump, but only over a gap.
What?
Or like with an enemy. If you tried to jump and it's just flat ground, you'd roll.
Which version of Prince of Persia is this?
In particular, I'm thinking of Warrior Within, but I think it was true in other games as well.
I thought that game was like... If I look at like the Sands of Time's cover, and I remember that being like he's running on a wall. That seems like mobility is very core to that video game. What?
It absolutely is, and you can jump on the spot, and you can jump over an enemy, and you can jump over a gap. And if you try to just run and jump on flat ground, you'll roll.
What?
Yeah. At least that's what I remember from playing it quite a long time ago. But it seems strange. Like, I want to jump over this little thing, and no.
What a baffling design decision.
I mean, rolling, like, yeah, you roll around in combat makes sense. But, yeah, just wait for it to do that instead of jumping every single time.
Dark Souls lets you jump.
Yeah, like I don't remember it causing issues. I just remember it feeling kind of a little bit strange.
It's definitely a little bit strange. Again, in a series, especially in a series that like seemingly prides itself on movement.
Yeah. Like I said, though, I don't remember if the more recent games, like Forgotten Sands, have done that differently.
Or just
They
the
might have
one
done it
that's
differently.
just called Prince of Persia.
Well, I mean, that's just the... Well,
There was like
is
a
that the different one?
rebooted one. I think it was
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
2009.
It's stopped. It's just stopped. They just haven't done anything with it. Like, it was like the end of the game. It was like, okay, clearly, like this is going to go somewhere because it ended on like a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But then nothing has happened.
I'm looking at the cover for Prince of Persia: Sands of Time right now. That man is running on a wall.
Yeah, it was. So Prince of Persia, that remake was 2008, end of 2008.
Right. Okay.
Wow, that was 7 years ago.
And it definitely looks like it has way more mobility going on in it than Warrior Within seems to have had.
They've all had similar movement.
Okay.
It's core gameplay to the franchise, stuff like running on walls and jumping over enemies and stuff.
Okay. That's fun, at least. Mark,
Yeah,
are you looking forward to playing anything in particular this week? Got anything that's...
I'm actually looking forward to running my D&D game on Wednesday because I haven't done it in weeks. I was converting it from Pathfinder to 5th edition of Dungeons and Dragons over the summer break. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know what I'll play in terms of video games, though. I'm not sure. Probably end up doing more Dying Light when my flatmate has the chance to do co-op with me. But I think I'm going to stick to that just as co-op for now. Not sure what else. What about you?
I'm also not sure. I've got a few things kicking around in my queue.
Feels like there hasn't been anything big recently.
No, there definitely hasn't been. I think the biggest thing that's coming up is Night in the Woods in a few weeks.
Oh yeah, I know you've been looking forward to that one.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to it. So that comes out in a couple weeks. Very excited about that. This week, though, more Doom can't hurt me. I might finish Deus Ex 2, which I found a fun strategy for when I was playing it the other day.
Yeah?
Yeah. Do you remember... You beat this game, right?
I haven't played it.
Okay. There's a particular fight where you have to wait for an elevator for 2 minutes, right? And, like, dudes swarm into the room.
Yeah.
And, like, that's fine and good. Turns out, though, that you can just put vending machines in their way, and it breaks all the AI pathfinding, and they can't do anything. So you can just make the protagonist, like, dance for a little bit and groove until you get the elevator there, which is really great.
Oh, wow.
I had a good time doing that for a couple minutes after I had the revelation of like, oh wait, I can just put vending machines here and I can block both the doors and nobody can get in.
What was that game where carrying boxes around became a really big part of strategy? Was that what's it called? It was like a top-down RPG.
Carrying boxes around was like...
Or was it Original Sin or something?
Divinity Original Sin?
Yes. Was that the one?
I have no idea. I've never played it.
I think it might have been.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing too, I think I'm gonna put some time in on Street Fighter V.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Do you button mash, or do you know how to play?
I am slowly learning how to play, but I don't.
Okay.
I don't button mash at all anyway. But I'm slowly learning how to like do the combos and all that sort of stuff.
The best I've ever got in a fighting game is kind of like I can hold my own if there's a group of other people who have not played it before.
Right, fair enough. Meanwhile, my experience has mostly been with like Smash.
Right.
And that was to the point where I was preparing to compete in tournaments and stuff.
Yeah, years ago when I lived at home, we had a Tekken game, and that's pretty much the only one I've ever played.
Tekken. I would love to get a Soul Calibur at some point. I remember Soul Calibur 4 on the GameCube and playing that.
That's the one that got weapons, right?
I think that was the one where they got weapons.
The main thing I liked about Tekken was just that there was a character called Hwarang who did Taekwondo stuff that I'd recognise, and I'd be like, oh, I know what he's doing. That was kind of fun.
Was it Soul Calibur 4?
Not sure. Maybe. I haven't played that franchise at all.
I have no idea. Oh, no, it's... what? I would like to read... hang on, I need to read this to you very quickly. Soul Calibur 4 is the 5th installment in Namco's Soul Calibur series of fighting games released for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 in 2008. Soul Calibur 4 included 3 characters from the Star Wars franchise as playable characters.
Don't they normally have things like that in Soul Calibur?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. I mean, the thing about the 4th game being the 5th game is kind of like a video game
that's
thing.
That's like a video game thing, definitely.
Assassin's Creed 3, Battlefield 1, it happened.
Battlefield 1's really good. I think I've mentioned that. Soul Calibur 2 inexplicably has Link from the Zelda series in it, if you play it on the GameCube.
I mean, it's on the GameCube, so makes sense. He hides out there. Right?
I guess. Also, I remember inexplicably in Soul Calibur 5, you could play as Ezio Auditore. Fair enough. Yeah, sure, that's the thing. Sure. Let's make him punch dudes, I guess.
Well, with knives.
It's very stealthy, though. It's
okay.
mostly the thing I'm trying to point out.
Right. I don't think I ever played Assassin's Creed as a stealth game.
Could you play 4 as a stealth game?
4? I haven't. That's the pirate one.
Yeah, that's
the
pirate one.
I haven't played it.
That's probably for the best. Hey, do you remember when stealth in Assassin's Creed was good either? Because, I can't.
The only stealth I remember is, don't get noticed while you're following this person in Assassin's Creed 1.
Right. They actually, fleshed a bunch of it out in Syndicate.
Oh, no, actually, didn't they add crouching in Assassin's Creed 2 Part 2 or something?
I don't know.
Maybe they added crouching and called it stealth or something. Like, you go into a region and he'd crouch and not be seen or something.
It's possible that you're just thinking of Watch Dogs.
No.
Because that was definitely a thing that they did in that, too.
There was... I don't remember the specifics. I haven't played Assassin's Creed games in a long time.
It's probably bad. I'm tempted to go back and play them because they're 40-hour games. I don't have time for this.
I only ever really messed around in them. I finished Assassin's Creed 1, but then aside from that, they're games that I'd get a little bit into, so I could go to all the different locations, and then I'd just jump into them occasionally and go fight a group of guards. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of all I did. I might climb a bit, but then I'd go fight a group of guards.
I think my favorite kind of Assassin's Creed story is that I used to hang out with I used to be super into parkour. That was a thing that I actually did and was super, super into. And as such, Assassin's Creed came out around the time where parkour was a big thing. So it was seeing parkour in a video game was really, really fascinating to me. And I think Mirror's Edge also came out in the same kind of era. Around 2007 to 2009 kind of territory. Where
Not sure when it came out, but that sounds right.
I think Mirror's Edge was 2009. But at the time when Assassin's Creed came out, I thought it was, oh wow, it was announced in 2007. At the time when Assassin's Creed came out, parkour was a big thing. I was really into it. And seeing it happen in a game and like seeing all like the cloth and stuff that they were starting to figure out how to do, it was really, really fascinating to me. And I like that memory a lot, actually. And Mirror's Edge came out in 2008 as well.
Fair enough. My favourite Assassin's Creed memory will always be the awkward grope.
What?
I've told you about this. When Assassin's Creed 1 had the button you press to push people away with your free hand, and then one time he just put his hand on the man's chest and left it there, and they just stood there looking at each other with his hand on his chest. And like you tried to move into him to push him away, and he just wouldn't move. He'd just stand there with his hand on his chest, looking at each other. That's going to always be my favorite Assassin's Creed moment.
Good God.
It was great.
Man, that series is really something. Unintentionally or like fully intentionally, Assassin's Creed is really something. It sure is a video game. I like that. I like that about it. It sure is a video game.
Yes. Yes, it is.
It sure is it's a video game about weird conspiracy shit and also stabbing people.
Yep. That's true.
Game of the year. All right. That's going to do it for us this episode, I reckon. Mm-hmm. Mark.
Yeah.
I hear you do this like online thing. Where can people find you on the online?
In the intertubes, I'm on Twitter at Honest Universe, and I also blog, although not about video games, at honestuniverse.com. What about you?
You can find me on the internet as Cockatiel Cutie pretty much everywhere. You can find me here. You can find me doing community manager stuff for Feminist War Cult. You can find me kind of just anywhere if you're looking for me. Probably not super great all up, but, you know, c'est la vie. Where can people find the show? You want to tell us a couple places where you can find that?
Oh, let me see if I can remember those URLs. You can correct me if I get it wrong. bit.ly/PauseCast-iTunes, is that one of them?
Yep, all lowercase. That'll give you...
Yes.
That'll bring you to our iTunes page. If you found us on SoundCloud and you're listening through there and you want to subscribe on iTunes, maybe give us a rating or a review, you can do that there.
Oh, it's like a quiz. I have to remember them.
No.
I don't have them written down in front of me.
I'll give you a free one.
Oh no, there's the Pocket Cast one. I'm just remembering, is that p.cast or pa.cs?
Nope. You are getting there. pca.st.
pca.st/PauseCast. PauseCast show.
No, just PauseCast. Yeah, it's the only URL. It's one of two URLs that like breaks convention.
Well, they made it.
Yeah,
not
it's
us,
true.
Right, so that makes sense.
You can find us on Twitter at PauseCast Show. You can email us your questions, your comments, your concerns. You can do that pausecastshow@gmail.com. We still have video games to like give away to like anybody who emails us. Just
email us to ask for a free video game and you'll get it.
Basically, yeah, we have
terms and conditions
apply. If you want to win a copy of Moon Hunters, you got to send us a Moon fact. If you want to win yourself a copy of Dragon's Dogma, you got to tell me something about a dragon. Whether it's in a video game or like in a movie or something, I just want to know something about a dragon. You can even talk to me about a Komodo dragon. Come on, it's not that hard. Also available, just like, I'll probably give someone a copy of Rust if they email me.
Imagine someone getting a package in the mail and it's just filled with like rusty nails. You're a bad
surprise! Person. Oh no, hang on. I gotta go one step further. Rusted nails and loose glitter. Surprise! Thanks.
You'll have it forever.
It's yours forever.
50 years later, still finding glitter.
We vacuumed this house like 20 times. There's still glitter.
Well, you need to vacuum your insides, apparently.
Every
Seriously, glitter never goes away.
Every crevice must be vacuumed or you will never stop having glitter.
I think it just... Does it reproduce? Is it alive?
Is glitter sentient?
Well, you don't have to be sentient to be... You don't have to be sentient to be alive. It could be like an amoeba type thing, where it just splits off, and now you've got two glitters where you only had one. It probably eats dust and turns it into glitter. I bet that's what it does.
My God.
Or they're nanomachines sent from the future to take over the world.
Illuminati? Confirmed.
A little off track.
A little off track. I think that's it. I think we did it.
Yeah.
Crushed it.
Thanks for listening.
Oh, no, actually, no. I missed one thing. I did it. I did miss one thing. Actually, two things. First, Facebook. Want to join our Facebook group? Facebook.com/groups/PauseCast show. If you want to join... Well, no, it's not anything about joining. What am I talking about? Shout out to Anamanaguchi. They're a pretty cool band. They do the theme song that we use. It is called John Hughes, and it is off of the album Endless Fantasy. That's it for real this time. I think we crushed it. Now we've actually crushed it. Thank you very much for listening to PauseCast as always, and
we'll see you next time.